then I guess we worked a lot closer together when we looked to pivot the event online. It was just before a little something called COVID happened. You remember that? We chose to do 2 weeks of content, live broadcast, in a purpose-built studio that we built. And it was such an interesting experience. We'd never done that before. We knew that our audience needed to know what's happening in the sector. We needed to find a way to bring people together at that time, even if they were working from home.
For us, it was great to be working with somebody that was entrusting us to go on that journey with them, and I think the risk and to be able to take that risk in a calculated way. When you look at what happened with COVID, a lot of companies just shut up and stopped moving at all. A lot of industries stopped. We were very keen to use our digital prowess to keep things going.
I don't know how much I can say about this. There's some big plans for next year. So I'm Alexandra. I'm the Managing Director of Prolific North. We've been going on for about 10-11 years now. We're the go-to media platform for digital marketing, tech sectors in the North. Essentially, we run the news every day. We have a team of journalists. Day in, day out, we send a daily newsletter with the key news in the sector. Aside from our editorial content, we also bring people together through live events. And I guess this is where our paths have crossed in the past. Yeah.
So tell us, in as least infuriating words as possible, about what it was like the first time you met us at Badgering, the first time you met me and all that kind of stuff. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure thing.
Experience.
I guess you guys actually worked with us on the Expo, Digital City Expo, beforehand. So big event, big industry event at Manchester Central, or GMEX as some would know it. And, you know, that's about 150 stands or something like that, 5,000 people over 2 days. And I believe your involvement was around capturing content. I think the University of Salford maybe had a stand there. And you guys were capturing interviews, bite-sized content, etc., which was brilliant. That was a great event. It was just before a little something called COVID happened. You remember that? But then I guess we worked a lot closer together in the following year when we looked to pivot the event online. And we chose to do 2 weeks of content, live broadcast, in a purpose-built studio that we built in Media City, UK. And we didn't just do 1 week, because that's for the faint of heart. We did 2 weeks. And we had to do everything from scratch together. And it was such an interesting experience. We'd never done that before. I mean, the word unprecedented comes up a lot with this stuff. And we'd never done it before. We knew that our audience needed to know what's happening in the sector. We needed to find a way to bring people together at that time, even if they were working from home. Yeah, so we got going and we did it.
What gave you the, because I mean, it's quite a big statement to go, actually, we're going to go and do this, from not doing it before. What gave you the confidence to entrust us at Badgering to take you on that journey and to get you involved in that and bring it to Media City?
I think for me was that initial visit we did. So Media City kindly pretty much put their facilities sort of at our disposal, in the sense that we went and saw a lot of spaces, you know, which one would fit best, etc. And you and some people from the team came on that visit with us. And it was just amazing to see how we were able to just riff ideas off each other. Again, we hadn't done it before. We didn't know what we didn't know. And to be able to have a partner that is just so positive, eager, creative, to jump on this concept and just go, right, we could do this and we could do that. What if we did this? And what if we did that? And it was very much, resources were tough at the time. People that have tried to do events online now. And we just sort of worked so well together, I think. And it was that free flow of ideas that it gave me sort of the confidence, okay, even if we come across things, challenges, obstacles, we'll work together to make it happen. And that's exactly what we did.
I remember many late nights
Many
in
late
the tomorrow
nights.
buildings and stuff. But it was good. And I think that was the whole point, as I think for us, it was great to be working with somebody that was entrusting us to go on that journey with them. And I think the risk and to be able to take that risk in a calculated way, because a lot of people are quite risk averse.
Adverse, yeah.
And I think when you look at what happened with COVID and what happened in those times, a lot of companies just shut up shop and they shut the barrier, they shut the buttons up and stopped moving at all. A lot of industries stopped. A lot of things stopped happening. And I think we were very keen to use our digital prowess to keep things going. And I think it was important for us as a company. But I was just going to ask you the question in regards to the Northwest, how important is digital and the digital culture in the Northwest?
Gosh, so we cover the whole of the North. So it includes Northwest, includes Yorkshire and Humber, and it includes the Northeast. So and it's such a vibrant sector, if you can even call it a single sector. There's so much going on. Manchester is a huge tech and digital hub. Leeds, with Channel 4 moving over there, choosing it as their UK headquarters. There's just so much going on, but just across the north, really. And we saw consumer behaviours changing through the pandemic, for sure. A lot of people were perhaps, are some of these behaviours going to stay? Are people going to want to only shop online, for example, or mostly shop online? What we have seen as Prolific North is there's definitely a huge appetite for people to come together in person again. Even when you look at the likes of working in an office versus only working from home, especially when you look at the new generations coming through, that transfer of knowledge happens best in person. You need that, definitely need that. So we've sort of gone with the move of only doing in-person events exactly to facilitate that human interaction. But digital space is such a key space to, I guess, help support these experiences. So yeah, massive, absolutely massive. There's so much going on.
Let's talk a little bit about the digital skill set, the talent, the digital talent. We're very proud of our talent pathway at Badgering Coombs. We bring in lots of young talent. I am the oldest thing around here, which is ridiculous, but lots of young talent. Let's compare that to the south for a little bit, and obviously we want to champion the north as much as possible because we love the north as well. Do you think we don't shout about the digital talent in the north enough to bring opportunity from the south of this country up north?
It's an interesting space, I guess, when you look at broadcast production, and this is just my opinions, what I'm sort of seeing in the sector. They are not facts, that's the disclaimer.
I say that all the time. Yeah,
but I think we do a great job of attracting, for example, filming in the north, attracting crews. We have some really great studios, facilities. The thing where we see stuff falling off is then everything gets packed and the product gets exported elsewhere, so London, south, for post-production. And I think as a sector we perhaps need to do better at looking through the talents, I guess, pathways that we need from A to Z, and perhaps harness some of the ones that maybe we don't have enough of, in order to make this space a sustainable, all year round job market for people, right? There's definitely a lot of talent in the north. I think there's also pockets of communities, and sometimes maybe to be able to fight against the south, more cohesive. We have to come together as one, the north, rather than having pockets of hubs.
So I guess this is where Prolific North comes into to bring that together and that networking.
We try.
Well, exactly.
We try, and there's some, I don't know how much I can say about this, but there's some big plans for next year.
Good.
Digital City Festival returns, and we're actually considering 2 big events here in Media City, but with a northern focus, very much bringing the right people from the sector, both, you know, big media companies as well as independent production companies. So across the board, what can we do to work together as one?
So, and on that, that's the whole point, is that a lot of those large powerhouses are supported a lot of the time by the small medium businesses like Badgering Coombs. And so if you could kind of, without me putting the words in your mouth, but if you could kind of elaborate on why you think Badgering Coombs might be a perfect supporting business to those companies, those large companies, those growth companies. What is it about Badgering Coombs, do you think, that people should be coming to us for their video production and digital video stuff for?
Absolutely, yeah. I think what I really admire with what you do is, you know, sometimes it's quite hard to get into the industry. Sometimes you don't even know what opportunities are available to you. Sometimes young people don't know that these roles are something they can do. And we have to do better at building that pipeline of talent, and that includes being able to bring young people on this journey with us. And that's what you do so amazingly here, and it's a track record, and it works. And working with you guys on projects in the past and with your team, they learn again that transfer of knowledge. So absolutely, I think businesses should be supporting these kinds of initiatives, and you guys provide great results as well, excellent content. So, you know, on one side you're supporting pathways and you get great content.
I think when you look at what you guys do as well, you're some organisations you go to, again we go back to this risk averseness of some organisations. They don't want to take the risk, and they don't necessarily want to take risk on young talent that isn't experienced yet or hasn't tried yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if you look at the costs involved in hiring new talent and things like this for it not to work out, sometimes a lot of finance departments would want to take less of a risk. What do you think it is? What message do you think we need to tell those organisations that by working with somebody like Badgering Coombs that almost takes care of that risk? Because we've already vetted those talented young individuals because they're working with us, you know. What kind of message could you sort of say or communicate to companies to take that calculated risk on Badgering Coombs to work with that young talent?
I mean, is it a risk? You've got to remember, you know, your experience and your team's experience and everything you've achieved so far. That's
Well, yeah, it's true. When you do look at it, like sometimes we forget to look back, don't we? And we forget to go, actually, we have won awards and we've created lots of content for quite big clients. But I think we still feel that sometimes it's hard to get our message across. You know, we're always busy delivering for our clients, so sometimes we forget to market ourselves and things like that. So,
and I think this is interesting because I see this in the North a lot. It's almost like this humbleness that I don't understand sometimes because people forget, you know, the sort of framing of what they've achieved. And I think that's an important thing to remember. I mean, look at all the work you've done in cricket and in live sports, and these are some high pressure environments. So it's so interesting you coming to me and telling me that that's a calculated risk to take. I see it differently. It's actually, well, hang on, you're able to turn things around so quickly as a result of everything you have done in the world of live sports, for example. And that's just such a huge skill in a world where everything is changing so quickly, and adaptability is top level skills that you need in a team that you're working with. So I guess my sort of take on it is own that narrative, own everything that you've achieved. And actually, I don't see the risk that is being taken here. It's more like, aside from great skills, great content, you also get to support young talent. Win-win.
I think you need to come here more often. That's the first thing I want to say, because you don't come here enough to remind me of those things, right? Okay. So, yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. And I do forget about that sometimes, because I'm constantly thinking about how and where do we move the business to next, and how do we get that going to the next point. And I think the fact that you're here today and that we're talking about this is key to that growth and that development. And I think we're not very good about shouting about ourselves. That's why you're here. You're here because
and
we need you to help us with that, you know?
You're not alone. There's a lot of people in that boat we find. And this is, part of our role is to actually go in these different pockets of the northern communities to try and extract that, right? So, I've been on trips to Lancaster, Sheffield, Newcastle. So some of the sort of, I guess, the cities that don't get mentioned alongside Leeds and Manchester up there. And there's some excellent work from these places, and that's what we're about, sort of shining a spotlight on them. So, but sometimes it's all about that framing and that storytelling and remembering what you're really good at.
Yeah, I like that. You're going to have to keep reminding. Just text me every couple of days if that's all right. Just
okay, I can
text
do that.
me, oh, you're good at this and you're good at that. Sort
or
of
I can
thing.
find an AI that can automate that.
ChatGPT to do it. Alexandra's been really nice to me today. Do you know what I mean? It's proper really good. Cool. All right. So cool. And I think, we're forever appreciative of you using us and getting us involved and stuff like that, which helps us grow. But I think to kind of summarise it up and try and sort of come to a point to how, if you are in that situation where you're chatting to other companies and businesses and you think, actually, Badgering Coos, you should be working with Badgering Coos, what would you say to those organisations and businesses?
Colin is great. Aside from that, I guess what really sets you guys apart, on one side, there's the whole supporting young people and pathways into this space. There's the other side is the collective knowledge, spearheaded by you actually, around what you can do in this space. This adaptability, you're always up for trying something new, which is brilliant. I mean, how well you know your craft, the sort of tech that you have, the equipment that you have available. My experience has been great of working with you guys, and I'd thoroughly recommend the Badgering Coos team. And you make some friends along the way.
Absolutely. That's right, yes.
I think, first of all, what sets you apart is you're hands-on. You can ask those questions other people wouldn't have thought of.
This digital strategy that people need to look at,
It's a whole learning.
they just don't understand how the audience is on TikTok.
Companies just make content for content's sake. We took in a live interview as well, didn't we? You weren't going to give up on getting that person in on that day. You and the team were absolutely adamant and determined to make it work for the client.
We are very keen to foster those relationships. That trust relationship has to happen over time. It doesn't just happen overnight. Greatness comes when you do things together.